Hey everyone, it's Dana here with Love Sola Flowers, and we are going to be doing a fun centerpiece. It's not a difficult one. Again, I like to show you things that are kind of quick and easy, but maybe you haven't been able to figure out or just need some tips and tricks. So we're gonna do that tonight. But I did want to let everyone know we are having a big Labor Day sale. This is up to 75% off, so if you need to stock up during one of our bigger sales like this one, is the time to do it. So our website is lovesolaflowers.com, and our flowers ship from California. I know a lot of people ask us where we're located. So our flowers ship from California, where Sultan and the crew are. And I'm in New Jersey, so that's why I'm on Eastern Standard Time. I'm in New Jersey, and I just do the connecting and the tutorials and all that kind of stuff. So I know sometimes we get some questions about our actual company, and that's why we are actually on both sides of the United States, which is funny that we connected, but we live on completely opposite sides. But he's in California with all the crew who packs and does all the quality checking and all that kind of fun stuff. And I'm here on the East Coast in New Jersey doing videos and such. Ooh, that's so fun. So we are gonna do something, like I said, that's fun. We have our tutorials on YouTube, which is actually, Shannon, I'm in Central Jersey. It's in Ocean County, so that's fun. We do have our tutorials on YouTube because it's easier to search that way. You can just subscribe to our channel. That's youtube.com/lovesolaflowers. And you can find all the tutorials we've done for the last few years, actually. So there's tons on there. Hi, Laura. So before you scramble looking for ways to do stuff, check out all the different videos that we've got going on YouTube. Hey! And then we have our tips and tricks group where we can share and go over things that maybe we can't do in a video. And that is facebook.com/groups/lovesolaflowers. So those are all the places you can find us. Obviously, we're on Facebook. If you're watching this video, we do our live videos on our Facebook business page so that we can do them live and you can ask questions. We will have a little bit better of a schedule once school starts, but right now, I've just been jumping on when I can, and that's that. So you can see our live videos on Facebook business page. So make sure that you get notifications. If you haven't, make sure you check your settings that you get notified when we come live. And then if you miss the live, you can watch them obviously still on Facebook. Hi, Emery. Or you can watch them on the YouTube. If you do comment, if you watch them on Facebook, you can ask questions in the comment section and we can reply to you there. So that's another thing about the Facebook Live is that even if you're watching it on replay, we will come and answer your questions if you ask them in the comment section. So hopefully these are helpful. Today, again, it's not a really hard one, but sometimes we get questions about this in our group. And so I decided instead of always having to try to answer everyone and then I feel bad if I miss someone's question, just to do this one because people ask a lot about glass. So we're gonna talk about that. So yeah, so happy Labor Day weekend, even though it's next weekend. But we started our sale before actual Labor Day. So that's why I said happy Labor Day. So if you're just jumping on, we are having a sale up to 75% off, and that is on our website. So one popular, at least what I do a lot of weddings, sometimes 40 weddings a month or so. And usually they're the full-blown, centerpieces, swags, all that kind of stuff. And one of the main ones that we are getting these days are these like compote bowls. I get a lot of ones that are in gold, but I've been actually asked for a lot of these glass ones as well. So when I originally did it, I was like, okay, well, I don't want to have foam in there. And if I put, moss in there and then I have to put foam after it, I was very confused for a while how to make it. So that's why I wanted to do a tutorial on it. I have a glass compote bowl, and sometimes it's tricky to figure out kind of the construction of it, but it's actually super duper duper simple. If you checked out our tutorial a couple weeks ago, we did a acrylic box or a glass box, whichever one, but those we let the stems be seen. Here, I don't like to see the foam in glass. So this is what I wanted to show you tonight. Hi, Tammy. Hey, everybody. Yeah, I like it to see the glass and to see, you know, it floating kind of over it. So I know some people use half balls, but then you see styrofoam. So anyway, this is how I do it, and I wanted to show you my way of doing it. But if you guys have other ideas, we always love that. Share them either in the comment section or in our group. But you can order these foam bowls, and there's different size diameters. So this one is one that fits in here. So basically, the only thing it shows is a little bit of the green at the top, but usually your flowers come down a little bit. So I know you can only see the green kind of in this lighting right now, but it does, it's only at the top that you can see it there, and it floats above the glass. Also, it saves your glass. So if you do things like rentals, this is good because you can just pop the top right off. But this is one way that you don't have to see stems. And I build it while it's on the glass because I want to see how far to come down or out. But you can build it straight on the table. This is also what I use for some of those arrangements where people want them to look like they're sprouting off the table with no base. So if you're not using any base at all, this is also a good plan of action. It's a foam, floral foam plate kind of. So that's that. So we're gonna build it the same way we usually do, where we start with our greenery and our fuller stuff, and then work our way to our special filler. So I've got some greenery here, and I'm just going to cut it up into some pieces here. Now, the only thing about these is they don't usually come in dry foam. They usually come in the wet foam. If you don't know the difference between dry foam and wet foam is meant for real live flowers because it holds water in it so that they don't wilt or die. But we obviously don't need that because our flowers won't die forever. So, but the foam can get kind of crusty. I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of like it breaks easy. So you do need to put a bunch of hot glue on your stems before you put it in because it kind of holds the foam together. So I'm just gonna start jabbing these things in and filling up as much space as I can on my bottom. So again, if you're not gonna use greenery, it'll look like, you know, like, kind of like a round ball top, which is fine. But this is obviously gonna be one that has greens in it. So that's not actually, I'm gonna cut this, it's too long. My bowl's really not that big. So I'm gonna put a little stem in it. I thought it was gonna hang over nice, but it's actually way too big for it. So I'm just stemming. So if you need to have your greenery on a wire, you can always just stem it. So, all right, so let me put this in. Again, I want to, oh yeah, did you hear the kitties zooming around? It's getting late at night, so they're running like little zoomies. I have so many kitties in my house right now. Okay. Let me cut this one a little shorter. Usually my kitties are good and they stay quiet, but sometimes they get the crazies at night. The one thing positive about the wet foam is that it's super soft, very easy to push things through. I don't necessarily like symmetrical. If you've watched any of my videos, you know I kind of like asymmetrical and kind of not, you know, prim and proper necessarily. But if you're looking for a tighter look, you know, you can certainly, yeah, they're running like crazy mad cats. You can certainly do it where it's nice and tight and not as wild, but yeah, sounded like a storm probably coming through my house with these cats. They're still kind of babies. They're 2 years old, but they chase each other like crazy all night long. In the daytime, they sleep all day, but at nighttime, and I sleep downstairs, and they sleep upstairs, and I hear them, their feet pattering all night long, but you can do that. You can exchange it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think I saw someone just call it the zoomies, but that's what I call it because they zoom, zoom, zoom. I don't mind the wet foam. I just make sure that I glue it in, and I feel like it's more stable, because if you switch it out, then I'm always wondering if it's gonna break off, but I like to just do this. Okay, so as you can see, we're starting to fill up the gaps. I do have berries that I'm gonna be putting in this, so I don't need too many leaves before my flowers go in, but I'm just gonna keep going around. I've got one more stem that I'm gonna use, and then we'll move on. So we always do a base of greenery if you're going for a look that obviously has greenery in it. If you're gonna do flowers with very minimal greenery, then you're going to want to do your flowers first, and then you can just tuck some greenery in it. But I do like to do my greenery first. For me, it makes it easier to shape things out, and it doesn't look like just a big ball of flowers. But some people are looking for a ball of flowers, so I'm not gonna say that you can't do it reverse. But for me, I mostly start with greenery. Now again, I like it a little asymmetrical. I like some pieces a little up higher. See how my piece is a little bit higher? I like it looking like that. And I'm just gonna fill up a few more spots before I add my next piece. So I did see a lot of you guys answer my last tutorial about hot glue gun. I'm gonna do my research on the reviews of some of the ones that you guys had suggested. So I'm gonna see if I can get something better, because this is killing me. I just hate to spend a lot of money and then break. I'd rather spend these $2 and then just keep replacing them. But my glue gun stays on for about 10 to 15 hours a day. So there's that. But anyway, so okay, so as you can see, my glass and my leaves are already filling it out. Again, let me show you what it looks like. Again, I've got my, if you're just joining, I've got my glass compote dish, and then I've got my little tray. Now, sometimes what I've done too, if I want this not to show at all green, like sometimes your flowers might not go to cover it all, although usually it covers most of it. You can paint it white, or you can paint it silver or gold as well. You don't have to leave it green if you're trying to cover it a little bit. So you can certainly do that. Now, I've got some berries that I'm gonna be using. And so usually, again, we do greenery, like leafy greens, then we do our flowers, and then we do our fun fillers. But when I've got a big bushel of berries, I like to do those before my flowers, because they take up a lot of space, and sometimes they're hard to shove in after you've already got your flowers in there. So what I'm gonna do is add my berries in next, and to my gaps between my leaves. And I'm just going to, again, make sure that I'm putting glue on it, because again, this foam could get a little bit annoying. Okay, so I'm just gonna start, see, I'm just gonna start with my berries now. I got 3 stems of berries. And then we're gonna add actually, let me take that. I'm gonna cut it shorter. I don't know what I was thinking, it was gonna be so long. Then we're gonna add our flowers and stuff. You don't have to worry too much about putting moss on these, because they are green inside. So if you're, if you have some gaps and you can kind of see through, it's not gonna be a big deal, because the foam and the plate are green. So I'm not really worried about making sure I cover every single inch. But obviously, the more gaps you fill, the better. But if you're not wanting to use a ton of flowers and you really don't want to spend $1 million on greenery, the foam is green, so we shouldn't worry too much about that. And honestly, moss gets so messy sometimes that I try to avoid it if I can. So let me just put that. Okay, so now I've got my berries, and the same thing, I got some coming down, some coming up. I try to stick asymmetrical, like I said before. Okay, so now I'm gonna do my flowers, and then I'll have a little bit of other fillers to put in. I'm gonna move my piece away. I'm gonna stem some flowers here. So those of you who have not worked with solo flowers, Stemming flowers are super easy. Put a blob of glue on the back of your flower, and you're gonna ever so gently, because you don't wanna push hard because it'll go right through. Not only will you burn this hand, but you'll poke that one. And I just lick my finger because it stops burning. You could be patient and let that glue blob dry. but in terms of having to do a video, I like to make things go a little faster. So I'm putting these on half stems. I have a mixture of raw, some rosy pink ones and some blue ones that I'm using for this. And then I've also got the ones with the little yellow centers. Okay, so I've got a little mixture of colors here. They're happy colors because we're about to go to fall. And I thought, let me just use up some of my lighter colors here. So I'm gonna just do my pinkies and my blue. Again, I'm just putting the glue on the back of my flower, and I put my wire in, but I'm very careful to make sure I don't push too hard. Now, if you are doing some flowers that have, I call them a butt, but it has a little bit of a bigger butt, you can clip them down. So let me just show you what I mean. Let me cut my wire and then I'll show you what I mean. Let me see, I might need to leave a couple of these longer. Okay, so like see how I have a big booty on this flower? So you can use a scissor, it's gonna be easier than clippers, but I'm just gonna cut them down. Again, a scissor is probably the wiser option here. And then you can stem it with a shorter back. So the thing with the long backs is that if your wire doesn't go all the way to the center, it's easy to break the head off of the wire. So it's better to cut that down. See this one? Some of them you can actually just like break off. I'll leave a couple of these on the longer wire until I see how much I want to clip them. So I've got some pinks and blues. So I'm gonna stem on my flowers like this. I use 18 gauge wire. I use paper wrapped wires. I get them on Amazon. And they are literally just called 18 gauge paper wrapped wires. If you really have a hard time with, you know, if you want them to be a little stronger, you can go to 16 gauge. So 16 gauge numbers go reverse. I know some people ask this too. They're actually, the lower the number, the stronger the stem, the less it bends. So some people think they're going the wrong, they think they're going the right way, but they're going the wrong way. So for instance, 20 gauge or 22 gauge, that's actually very floppy. It's very hard to hold the flowers. It's not so strong. So I would suggest 18 gauge. And if you need a little more strength, because you know you want to be able to push into something that's really, really hard or something, you can go to 16 gauge. But just remember your gauges. I think, like I said, some people ask us, you know, I got 20 gauge, why isn't it stronger? But the lower the number, the more strong it is, the less it's flexible and bends. So just so you all are aware of that, because I didn't know that, because I never dealt with anything with gauges or anything like that before. So I did not know that at all. But I do use these paper wrapped ones. I used to use like the ones that have like cloth wrapped, but those are sometimes annoying when you clip them because the strings don't let go very easily. So I like to use the paper wrapped because they clip nice and easy, and that makes life easier. Not having to chase these little strings of stuff when they disconnect. Okay, so now we're gonna go into putting our flowers in. Now again, I do this randomly. Let me bring back my greenery. So if you're just joining us, we've already done our greenery. Again, it's on a little plate. So again, you can build something without a base and have it just on your table, or you can put it in the glass and all you see is the very top of the green, if anything, but your leaves should come kind of around there. So I'm gonna see how high. I'm also gonna put glue on these wires as well, because again, I'm using the wet foam, and sometimes it can kind of fall apart. So I'm just gonna add in my flowers now. So again, we always start with our bigger greens first. Our leafy greens go in. And I'm just gonna keep rotating it and filling in spots. So I kind of know now what kind of length I need my wires so I can clip them before I start poking. But I do just keep kind of rotating, making sure that I'm balanced and distributing colors in a, you know, again, not symmetrical, but balanced. So there's a big difference between symmetrical and balanced. Symmetrical means that obviously it's the same all the way around. Balanced just means that you don't have, you know, things clumped in it, that your colors are spread, that your greenery is spread. And so there is a difference between balancing and making something an exact symmetrical look. So we just want to make sure that we are balanced in terms of spreading out certain styles of flowers or colors. You can do groupings and it still be balanced, because you can make a part where your eye, you know, like an eye catcher. So you can do that. So if you want to bundle two colors together on purpose, that definitely is a look to bundle, like let's say two little roses together, but that's not, shouldn't be your theme of the whole thing. You should be using that as an eye catcher, not necessarily a rule of thumb. So I'm just gonna keep going. You don't need a ton of flowers necessarily in these kind of things. Like I said, the inside is green, so you usually can't see, even if you have some gaps. But you could always go back and fill it with leafy greens. You know, fillers can take up the rooms, but you know, we want to actually make sure that there's not any place that is bulky and then the other side bare. So more about rotating and filling than it is about, you know, making sure every single little gap is full. So that's what I'm focusing on right now, is just rotating around. Now again, you don't have to, you know, go crazy with these little guys with fillers and flowers for them to be beautiful, because we are just gonna be doing flowers and a couple fillers, but it's still gonna give, you know, an elegant, pretty look without having to go crazy. Now, some of you who are like me and love fillers, you know, you could actually even do it without flowers and just kind of focus on the fillers. But you can do a little bit of both too. So I'm just making sure that I just keep spinning it around, because I don't want to get one side, because again, if this is round, there's going to be somebody on every side and they're going to see it. So you want to make sure that one side doesn't have this beautiful look and then the other side gets the bare minimums. So I'm just going to keep gluing. And I'm just sticking it right in the foam. And I've got 2 more white flowers, and then I've got my last bit of fillers. So again, we start with the leafy greens, and I considered the berries kind of in that category just for this, because they were big. We wouldn't have been able to kind of stick them through. If you have a small stem of berries, those can fit in after your flowers, but because these were pretty chunky, I just wanted to make sure that those went in without having to like smush flowers. So, all right, so I'm gonna put this in and then I'll hold it up for you and show you what we've got so far. And I'm just gonna fluff things out. Okay, so as you can see, we've got this going on. You can kind of adjust once you get it, because again, you're wanting to spin it and make sure that everybody is covered. So I might add, you know, some flowers here and there after I've got it kind of set with my main stuff, and then make sure that I spread. So again, I have some things that kind of hang down whereas some things come up. So again, I do like the asymmetrical look. I do like some leaves coming up to one side. It's a look I like when the greenery kind of zooms up on one side. Sometimes I even take a really long piece of filler and make it come up like kind of really high and have a whole asymmetrical look. So basically I've got it now all fluffed and set to the way I want it. This has got a lot of leaves. Let me see, let me tuck that in. Okay, so I've got this. Again, it can be detached. You can paint this if you need to. This could just go flat on things. They could be moved too. So if you have them in something and then you need to move them to something else or lay them flat on a table, it's got that kind of fun thing too. So now that I put my leafy fillers, my bulky fillers, and then my flowers, I'm just gonna go in with some little fillers. This is star flower. It's in our preserved and dried section on our website. So you can just go to our drop-down box if you're looking just for fillers. And this is in the preserved and dried section. I have a cat right in front of me. I know you can't see him, but he's over here sniffing because he wants the star flowers. Maybe he'll come on screen. But I'm just gonna take the star flower and I'm gonna make bundles here. So I'll show you what I do. Little bundles, okay? And then after I've got my bundle, I'm gonna glue around the bundle. And then I'm just gonna feed it into different spots. I'm gonna make sure that they either connect with a flower or they connect with a silk green, because obviously they can't get into the foam, but the glue will catch on to something in there. So I'm just gonna make my bundles. If you are just joining us, we are having our really big Labor Day sale. That is up to 75% off. And it's on the good stuff too. It's not just discounting, you know, silly things that nobody uses. It is, you know, definitely using the sale for all the things you need. So you can go there. There's no code needed, I believe. And I'm just gonna keep feeding these little bundles. I'm gonna let some of them stick out a little bit more than others. And I'm just gonna put a few more in. Again, being balanced but not symmetrical. And again, these aren't so hard, and once you get your groove, they are pretty fast. So making, you know, your centerpieces for a wedding or for an event, or even for a craft show, doesn't have to be completely time consuming. It could just be something simple. You don't need to go crazy. Yeah, the green brings it some vibrance. You know, feels still earthy because it's green, but gives it a little touch of femininity. Also gives it a little bit of a rustic look. So again, I'm gonna have some of these guys jutting out a little further on purpose. Where's the green tray from? The green tray is from Amazon. So usually if you put like floral foam pan or floral foam plate, I can't speak, floral foam plate, it'll come up. And I'll give you different options. It'll give you different diameters. They don't come huge, huge, huge. Sometimes if I need something really, really wide, I just get like a plastic plate and do a spray foam in the center and make my own, which you could do if you need a specific diameter. This leaf feels like it's facing the wrong way. Okay, so that, how much would you charge for something like this? Well, this glass bowl was actually pretty inexpensive. I think, because I got them in like a big set, I think the bowl is only like $5 or $6. which is a great deal. And I would charge about $55 to $65, depending on what fillers I used. If I used a lot of real, depending on how many flowers I used, but between 55 and 65, depending on the diameter. But this one specifically, I didn't really use any fancy fillers or anything like that. I would charge about 50 to 55. Because of, you know, if there's dyed flowers in it and things like that, and obviously you're paying for the glass bowl. But here's the bowl. Now, if you were wanting to, it doesn't secure it forever, but if you want it to just be stable enough where it doesn't rock, you could always just put a dab of hot glue around the top of the glass, and then I sit it in. And again, it doesn't hold it like forever, which is sometimes a good thing, but it does keep it from moving, okay? So you can always do that. And then like you can pop it off and just peel the glue off if you're wanting to, because glue doesn't stick to glass like forever. So you can just do it that way. Now again, if you're wanting something, you can make it taller. You can lay it on a table as a centerpiece without any base as well. Obviously you might want more height, or maybe you want them low. Maybe you want them lined up, you know, on a sweetheart table or something like that. And I have even seen, you know, people put like hooks on the back and they hang them if they need to hang them, like let's say at a like a bow spot, you know, like where maybe things are looped, and this be like a ball that you can attach on something. So there's a lot of things you can do with them. Here again, is it without a base, which is fun because you don't have to worry about it, or you can lay it again in the glass bowl. And again, you don't really see the green inside because the leaves come down and it's not really very noticeable because it is pretty shallow, so you're not having to worry about that. Now, I use these too, one last thing, I do use these for the really, really tall glass vases. Again, your topper might want to be bigger than this, but you can use them for like those, they call them like fluted, where they're glass. These actually just sit down in them, and it's nice because they travel well. Or if you're building it for somebody who doesn't live nearby, you can send them this part and they buy their vase, and then they just literally lay it on top of the glass. And I always suggest, if you're gonna be moving them around or if you're selling them or things like that, to use a double-sided clear tape and put it down, and the double-sided clear tape will hold it so that it doesn't fall if it's something that's really tall. Because again, on low, it doesn't really matter if it's even loose because no one's, you know, whatever. But if you're on those tall pieces and the table shakes a little bit, you don't want it to flop out, you can use double-sided clear tape right there and then place it down on there, and it will stick enough that it can't just like fall out on people. So that's always a good thing, right? No one wants any flowers falling on guest's head. So that's that. So I hope it gives you some ideas on how to use these little plates. Again, you can make your own by using an actual plate and using spray foam. But you know, obviously you wanna make sure it's the right color, you wanna make sure no one sees it, all that kind of stuff. So, all right, that is it for our second tutorial for this week. And we will see you next week for another tutorial. And then once school starts for my kids, it's a little bit easier for me to get an actual schedule. And then we will see you hopefully each week on the same day and time. But hopefully the summer schedule wasn't too annoying for you all. But at least we saved them and we put them on our YouTube channel so you can watch them whenever you want. All right, everyone, catch our Labor Day sale before it's over, up to 75%. Bye, everyone.